if you want.
J.Cole was born on January 28, 1985 in Frankfurt, Germany, and later raised in North Carolina, USA. J.Cole originally gained traction after his 2011 album release Cole World. He later released 2014 Forest Hills Drive, his most acclaimed and popular album to date. But on the second year anniversary of the release of Forest Hills Drive, Cole would release For Your Eyes Only, his most honest and vulnerable album in his discography. For Your Eyes Only was released on the 9th of December 2016 and was a surprise release as there was no rollout singles or announcements on any news site or social media platform. The album was certified gold only a month after it was released, and a few months after that it was certified platinum, showing off how much this album was beloved throughout J. Cole's audience. The album follows the story of J. Cole's friend James as we follow his life journey and ultimately his unfortunate death. Through this we learn various themes and the reasoning for the album's creation, giving us insight into the struggles and horrors that plague the African American population of the USA. As always, I'm Tristan, and this is J. Cole's For Your Eyes Only, a goodbye letter from a friend.
She fuck with small town niggas, I got bigger dream.
For Whom the Bell Tolls is the opening track on the album, and has a total runtime of 2 minutes and 7 seconds, making it the shortest song on the album. The song's title is inspired by Ernest Hemingway's novel following the same title. The song introduces James, and he touches on the feelings of hopelessness and feeling as if he's at a dead end, contemplating suicide along the way. James, after living a dangerous and precarious life, is feeling the weight falling down on him. He uses rain as a symbol of this weight, supposedly due to rain being connected and often symbolic of despair and sadness. Feelings that James would be feeling as his lifestyle continues to close around him.
But what do you do when there's no place to turn? I have no one, I'm no.
James's options have closed, and despite being forced to live such a precarious lifestyle, he still has to deal with the consequences of that lifestyle, like losing friendships and opportunities, metaphorically burning bridges down. Church bells, especially in religious funerals, are rung when somebody has passed away. These lines are used to tell the feelings of insecurity James is feeling, and that his depression and anxiety about his own future, or lack thereof, is causing him to have suicidal thoughts and contemplate his options. Immortal is the second track on the album and has a runtime of 3 minutes and 21 seconds. The song follows James as he discusses and ruminates on the gravity of death, both from the perspective of other people's lives and experiences and his own experience and situation. James is aware that his lifestyle is wrong, yet continues to sell drugs in order to earn money and get by financially. He grieves his friends that have passed away doing the same things he's doing, and it makes him regret his lifestyle.
They telling niggas sell dope, rapper go to NBA. In that order, is that
James reflects on the socially forced idea that as a black person in America, the only ways to become successful is to sell drugs, become a rapper, or become a basketball player. James then states that this thinking is what's holding back black Americans, and that he has also become a victim of this mentality.
hey, put a finger in the sky if you want it. Hey, put two fingers in the sky if you want it.
Deja Vu is the third track on the album and has a runtime of 4 minutes and 24 seconds. The song follows James, and he imagines a conversation with a woman he is interested in about the type of guy she's into. James throughout the song recites that he believes he can become more desirable than these guys, if only this woman would give him a chance. Ville Mentality is the fourth track on the album and has a runtime of 3 minutes and 14 seconds. The song's title, Ville Mentality, represents a self-destructive perception of one's opportunities. Instead of pursuing bigger dreams and aspirations, those with a vile mentality instead become comfortable in the same cycle of destructive behavior and violence. The song follows James as he comes to terms with his situation and that he was a victim of this vile mentality for much of his life, now reflecting on the environment around him and the problems it's put him in.
Damn it, won't be long before I disappear. Damn it.
James understands that the life he's lived and the choices that he's made have done irreparable damage to his future, becoming self-aware and accepting his inevitable demise. This interlude is not only sad, but is used to be a glimpse into the perspective of James' daughter, whom is mentioned in the closing track of the album. It gives us insight into the damage that James's lifestyle has caused to others, not only himself, leaving them grieving and giving them unwanted hardships. She's Mine Part 1 is the fifth track on the album and has a runtime of 3 minutes and 29 seconds. The song follows James as he falls in love with a woman and sings about his feelings towards her. The woman James is singing about is presumably the mother of James' daughter, whom we hear in the previous track's interlude. This new prospect of love has given James some hope and has made him understandably more joyful and optimistic about his life, a stark contrast to the depressive, hopeless themes that have followed the album up to this point. James reiterates his change in perspective by stating that he no longer holds the same suicidal thoughts he held before meeting this woman, instead opting to stay around and spend all of his time with her. James opens up to this woman more than he has with anybody else before, including himself. He reiterates his reluctance to tell her all of his past experiences, as the trauma of his negative lifestyle holds him back, and presumably he's scared to be judged because of his demons and his history.
Get me. She hugs him. You kiss me. My intuition is telling me there'll be better days.
Change is the sixth track on the album and has a runtime of 5 minutes and 31 seconds. The song follows the perspective of James and Cole as they detail James's experiences and his sudden death. The title also introduces the change in perspective the album follows from this point forward. Instead of focusing primarily on James, it leans a bit more into the perspective of Cole and his hardships. James cites one of his many experiences he had in which he almost died. This is then followed by his acceptance of how lucky he is, but he continues to live dangerously and make birds fly, a phrase meaning to distribute drugs.
I know you desperate for a change at the midnight, but the only real change come from inside.
With a beautiful feature from Ari Lennox, the chorus is used to try and support James's change of attitude and character featured on the previous track, supporting his aspirations for change within his life, but trying to inform him that he must change his own self from within, not by getting a girlfriend or having a child. On a personal note, it's reassuring to think that this album is from the perspective of James, and that during his last days, even whilst he dreaded his own demise and was filled with regret and guilt, he decided to make that change from within, and write a story for his daughter to remember him by. Cole changes the perspective in the song, switching it to his own experience of when James was killed, also revealing that James was young and only 22 years old, a terrifying reminder to the hardships and dangers young African American men face within the USA. Neighbours is the seventh track on the album and has a runtime of 3 minutes and 36 seconds. The song isn't from She's Mine Part 2 is the ninth track on the album and has a runtime of 4 minutes and 38 seconds. The song is a part 2 to the fifth track on the album, but instead of offering us James' perspective of love, it instead offers us Cole's perspective. Due to Cole's daughter being born, he reflects on the human nature of self-preservation and self-interest, recognizing that he can no longer hold those as priorities, instead making his new child's preservation and interest the most important thing for him to consider. This moment of reflection is honest and helps Cole reflect on James's death and what made him a good person due to his love for his daughter. Cole reuses the main chorus from part 1 of She's Mine, using it to show the repetition with his love for his daughter and wife. In part 1, he discovered the beautiful feeling of love with his wife, and in part 2, he rediscovers that feeling with his daughter, solidifying her importance to him.
Now you're here and I just wanna be right by your side. Yeah.
For Your Eyes Only is the final track on the album and has a runtime of 8 minutes and 40 seconds, making it the longest song on the entire album. The song serves as a message from James to his daughter, a message that he wrote for Cole to produce so that his daughter could gain insight into her father, despite losing him at such a young age. Making money any way possible, whether illegal or legal.
I tried to find employment even if it's white but tallest, but these felonies be making life the hardest.
James pursues a clean life away from crime, doing whatever he can to pay for his family, even if it's something as demeaning as wiping toilets. However, his options are limited due to his past, outlining that his felonies make his job opportunities very limited, if at all, making his life Realizes that despite wanting to live a clean life, his felonies and criminal convictions make any job opportunity not be financially helpful enough to support a full family. Due to this realization, James asks Cole to write a song for his daughter in the situation that James falls into the pressures of providing for his family and returns back to a life of crime, a choice that he understands will most likely come with his demise. Understands the various emotions his daughter may hold to him due to the nature of his death, but reinforces and tries to educate his daughter to not get stuck into the same struggle by falling in love with a man who gets his money in illegal ways and puts his loved ones and himself in danger. Before his death, was acutely aware of his situation and the tragedy that is likely to follow him. He recites that he tried to go down a path of righteousness, but his past actions will always follow him, and that in the situation that they catch up to him, his daughter understands why he did. Means to be a real man. Despite the masculine and tough nature of working within crime, sleeping with women, driving cars, being fearless, and hating the law, the thing that made James the best man he could ever be was the fact that he sacrificed everything for the love of his child, and that nothing else could ever weigh up to that. For Your Eyes Only is probably my favourite hip-hop album of all time. I mean, from my brother introducing it to me when I was in my early teens, to me now being 20 years old in 2025, still listening to the exact same album, and, you know, probably feeling the themes heavier now that I'm older, but it really is a testament to how good this album is, and the work J.Cole put into it to make it sound honest, authentic, and it's just beautiful. It's one of the most beautiful hip-hop albums I've listened to. Thank you to everybody who's been showing support on the recent uploads. It really, really does mean a lot to me. I mean, I try to reply to all of you, you know, in the comments. It really means a lot that I have such a good audience and such good engagement that it makes me feel like I've got people coming back, watching the videos and building a little community here, and I really appreciate all of you for doing that for me. Obviously, if you want to support the channel, like the video, subscribe, share it to your friends. It helps push the video out into the algorithm and build this community that we're bringing here. You can also support me by subscribing on my Patreon, which will have the link in the description, or follow me on any of my social medias, which also all of those links will be in the description. All up, thank you guys for everything, all the support you give me and the support on this video, and as always, I'm Tristan and thank you for watching.